What's going on, everybody? It's Josh, aka the Mo's of Muscle, coming at you with another Next Up podcast. God damn, it's been too long. Talk to him, cuz.
Cousin Creamy, aka IFBB Pro, Classic Physique, Colin Marco. Coming at you. How we doing?
Do you have to specify classic physique when you say that? Or can
Yes, because I am proud to say that I got my pro card in Classic Physique and I did not transition.
okay, fair. I'll be getting
I
mine.
might be shit, but I still made it.
I'll be getting mine in women's bodybuilding, so it's okay.
It's all right. I'm glad I got it this past year rather than men's wellness next year.
Yeah, facts. Facts. Well, you might be competing as a pro in men's wellness. So
Oh, I definitely would be.
yeah. Big old legs on this guy. All right. So it's been a while. I think we should probably have a catch up and talk about like what's been going on.
I'll
Uh
say let's do a little recap, Josh. You usually lead this, but I'm gonna take the reins on this bitch right now.
ooh.
What's been in the life of Moses himself? We just moved the gym. How did everything go with that? I mean, let's run through the course of what was it? 96 hours of what it took you to get through that monstrosity?
Um yeah, let's start it out. So I closed the gym November 14th at 5 p.m. From that point forward, I did about 3 trips that night with all of the dumbbells and the plates in the gym. Thankfully I had the help of Miss Latanya Jefferson and Miss Suzanne Gordon, aka the fucking dream team. So we just loaded up some pickup trucks and started that process. I think we finished that night around like probably around like 9:30, 10 o'clock. With the sole intention of like, hey, let's try to get home at a decent time. Um, because tomorrow's gonna suck. Because Saturday morning, the 15th, we had a box truck with a lift gate on it. We had a couple of heads and we had 2 pallet jacks. My ass was way too excited and I couldn't sleep. So around 5 a.m., I got to Ultimate Gym and I put the kneeling leg curl and the calf raise into the bed of my truck by myself because I was just too excited. Around like 6:30 ish, my boy Rob came, who's one of my clients, and thank God he came because he was the only one who was legally allowed to drive the box truck. So I didn't know he was coming, but he came to help out. Around 7 o'clock, the box truck, the guy who got the box truck, his name was Ryan, took Rob to go and get it because Ryan didn't have a license. And from that point forward, it was just fucking ripping. Like, how fast can we get this stuff going? So we had like 5 or 6 people there for the first trip. We moved the first piece of equipment, which was a free motion cable crossover. Got into the bed of the truck, went to go take it off the pallet jack, and dropped on my foot. Broke my fucking big toe on the first piece of fucking equipment. And I immediately just looked at my boy Joe. He realized what happened. He goes, "How bad?" I go, "That shit's shattered, dude." I was like, "That's 2,000 pieces pound piece of equipment. It fell on my foot. We're fucked here." And he looked at me and he goes, "What are we gonna do?" I go, "Well, I'm gonna drive to Pivot with you once we're done with this shit. I'm going to get belligerently high on the way there. We're gonna put the shit in the gym, and then on the way back, you're gonna drive, and I'm gonna get belligerently high there too. And we're gonna just do this shit." So about 3 or 4 more trips later, blocking off one of the major roads on Long Island, we got the entire gym moved. We moved everything equipment wise in literally like 16 hours or some shit like that. It was fucking ridiculous. Everything was just kind of clusterfucked in the middle of the gym for a while. And then Sunday, Joe came back with his girlfriend T. Um, and we just moved things into like place. Realistically, I set up the leg section first, and then I trained legs at night at like 9 o'clock at night. It was a great time. It's not something I wish on my worst enemy. Actually, I do wish it on my worst enemy. I wish that were my worst enemy did have to do something like that because it didn't kill anybody. Like it wasn't that bad, but like it knocked me the fuck out. And my dumbass tried to train through the whole thing. So over the next it's January 11th now, over the next like month and a half, I was still training, still doing my cardio and attempting to build out a gym, which was easily the dumbest thing I've ever done. So I've taken more rest days than I think I've ever taken in my life. I somehow have still, knock on wood, not gotten sick, but we are here. And the gym officially opened January 5th. Speaking of, before we start anything else, shout out Natural Body. They definitely hooked me up with the Black Friday sale because I ate a lot of cream of rice and whey protein because it was the quickest thing to get in and get down without having to worry about cooking. Shout out marijuana, my great friend. Um, yeah, so just to get those two prefaces out of the way. But that is what happened here. Yeah, now it's done, quote unquote. There's always little stuff to still do. Like my office, this door is not painted. There's no tint on the windows. The wall in front of me is halfway up. There's no top part of the sheetrock, but everything else is done. So just getting ready for prep. Excited.
Fully functional. We love that.
Yeah.
Well, the biggest thing, as always, I never said it directly to you on camera and or in person or over voice message, but congratulations on the grand opening of Pivot. Very, very happy for you. Very excited for you. For what's to come. I mean, again, this is something that I know you've been wanting to happen for a long time, and you've officially done it. And a lot of people say they will do something and not do it, but you did it. So I'm very proud of you and very happy for you in that sense.
Yeah.
So enough emotion.
It was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, it's well worth it. A lot of hell to go through for it, but well worth it in the long run. But the thing is, there's a lot of exciting things coming up in your life right now. I'm not going to talk much about myself because, again, I've harped on my pro card plenty. Um, Now it's time for you to get yours. There's a lot of big things coming up in the near future, perhaps coming up. Let's take a little backtrack here. With how extravagant the last part of this off season has been for you, for the sake of moving the gym and just kind of life in general. What have you done differently, or mentally, physically or mentally? What kind of approach have you taken differently to make the substantial changes this year that you did last year? Because again, you recently just put up a post of what you were at 255 or 256 last year to what you are at 255 this year. Again, two very different humans, two drastically different condition levels, size in general, everything in total is very, very drastically different. What do you think, or what do you know that you did differently this year than last year to accrue the amount of tissue that you have in less time than you had last year?
I wouldn't say I did much different. I wouldn't say that I trained differently. I wouldn't say that I like ate the food or didn't eat the food. What I will say is I will say my waist stayed smaller this year through the off season. And that's partially due to like Greta, but I do actually fully believe that not having a sugar bomb right before going to bed every night probably helped tremendously with like visceral fat. Um, but other than that, like I didn't put the stress on myself this year to say, yeah, I'm going and I'm winning the overall. I didn't put the stress on myself saying like, oh, I'm absolutely going and winning my pro card this year. Um, do I still think that I'm gonna walk in and just smoke the fuck out of everybody? Yeah, but that's just because that's my personality. I have to believe that stuff.
Mhm.
Um, but I wasn't sitting here saying it the entire off season. My goal every day was like, no matter what happens, I'm gonna make it really fucking hard to beat me. Like, I don't care who you are. I don't care if I get last place. I'm gonna be the best last place you'd ever fucking see. Like
Yeah.
I'm smoking everyone in the terms of I'm making you fucking work. Um, and there's visuals things like I'm just gonna flat out fucking say it because like I talk to these two guys all the time. The guy Malik and Blake Young, like uh Blake Young fit on Instagram and worship Malik on Instagram. I turn around, I talk to both of them, and like, yeah, if I'm training chess, I'm looking at fucking Blake Young's side chest beforehand. Like, I'm trying to beat that pose on him. Or when Malik turns and does a like kind of hands behind back, most muscular as he's setting up a pose, and his full chest is striated. Like, yeah, I'm in my head, that's what I'm picturing. Like, how am I going to beat that individual, and how hard can I go in the process? My whole
Hmm.
thing has always been like hard work when it comes to training. So, can I outwork this person? Like, hey, they might have better genetics than I do. I would say I have pretty solid genetics, but like, can I outwork X, Y, or Z human being? And if I can, I'm gonna fucking go for it.
Yeah, no, I mean, 100%. And again, for yourself, upper body has always been something that comes relatively easy for you. Specifically back. It's something it's a pretty dominant portion of your body. But let's talk lower. When it comes to training style, when it comes to intensity level, when it comes to volume, when it comes to anything of that nature, is there anything that you've done differently? Because again, I'm not going to sit here and say your legs, quadrupled in size, but they're substantially bigger and leaner than what they have been in the past. They're not just a big ball of fluff of what they have been in the past. And again, we spoke on that, and we know that they can get large, but they can get large and soft. But can they get large and hold tissue? For yourself, you've always struggled with holding tissue throughout the remainder of your cuts, or perhaps more so. For you now, this is definitely the strongest base that you hold on your frame at this point in time. So realistically, do you think it was just in due time they were going to come on, or was there anything you've done differently this year go around? Whether or is there anything differently you did this go around other than last year or the year prior?
Yeah, so yeah, fuck him. I was gonna turn around and not say his name, but when we did high days last year, whether it was in prep or in off season, they didn't really make sense. The strategy behind them was fucking stupid. So me turning around and training legs this year, we had a very strategic plan when it came to how I was going to go with a high day, the nutrition that was going in, and pretty much just like how I was going to structure it. Now, I'll tell you this, I definitely fucked up in the terms of like I was doing way too much volume, um, and it made my knee absolutely dismantled, right? Like I'm still dealing with some knee pain right now. Um, but I'm still driven by the fact of outworking people, right? So like
Mhm.
in my head, how am I going to outwork this person? Well, I'm going to take every set to hell and I'm going to do more sets and I'm going to force my legs to grow. That's not exactly the answer. Like I didn't care about accuracy of, did I progress the logbook? The question was, did I progress the training? Was there more stimulus? Was I more fucked the next day? Did it hurt to walk out of the gym? Um, and there's merit to that. Effort is the main driver when it comes to training. So like I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna get bigger. I'm gonna get stronger based off of that. But I was just gauging it based off of how much did that set stimulate me and how many times could I do it?
Mhm.
Now I've dropped my volume pretty significantly. My knees feel better. I'm getting great workouts, and I'm not incapacitated when I gotta go and do cardio the next day. My knee is not in absolute fucking shambles. So that I think there's a time and a place to push volume, and there's a time and a place to push intensity. But there is definitely not a time and place that you should be doing both, like I was doing, and trying to just scrape the bottom of the barrel for your recovery all the time. It'll make you miserable. You won't gain weight correctly. And you probably aren't going to partition nutrients well because you're going to be so fucking inflamed. So the biggest takeaway I have is like I should have been running the same program that I ran during prep last year for legs the entire offseason because the volume was way lower. I just sat there and I would throw in random drop sets and rest pause sets. And again, all that stuff works, but to what extent? At what point are you going to have something negative happen? And for me, it's a very obvious negative that I'm also very willing to ignore. Oh, I can't walk the next day. Probably did too much. I'm gonna do it again to the next time I train legs because guess what? My knee is structurally reconstructed. Like it is not going to go to hell because there's fucking bone screws in it.
Yeah.
So Yeah, it hurts. It always fucking hurts. Let's just push it. Now it's more so, hey, let's not do that. Let's be a little smarter with this. Let's push ourselves in a different way. Let's turn around and make sure that every rep that I do is more effective and I feel everything in there. So drop load, drop volume, whatever you got to do, but make sure the shit counts. I used to ask myself before after a set, like, did the set build muscle? But I was thinking about it the wrong way. It's not the set, did the set build muscle? It's did every rep build muscle? Because if you turn around and you just half-ass the first 6 reps of a set, yeah, you're going to build muscle because if you go to failure, you go to failure. But if I can make those first 6 reps count, I'm going to get way more out of that set. So that's one of the big things when it came to like leg training this year and like changing it up. Also now more recently, like I started doing mobility work. So not even really mobility work, but like I am rolling out my legs before the connection I'm getting with my quads just from doing that is tremendous. It feels like it's breaking up some of the adhesions in there. My knee feels a little bit better afterwards, and I'm able to push the sets a little bit further. And then the last thing I would say is like, you know, those who really go for it will know this feeling. Those who don't won't. But you know, when you get into that set and you think like, yo, this next one's going to be a bitch, and you're like kind of contemplating if you're going to go for it or not, my answer was always yes. I was always going for it. And I think that when you're willing to take that into account and say, I'm always going to go for that set, you change your training. You push yourself to another degree and you're able to get a lot more out of it. So that's where I really think the biggest change was like there was never a question in my mind if I was going to go for it. I was going for it. No
Yeah.
ifs or buts about it. So
Yeah. No, I mean, it totally makes sense. And I mean, the thing about it is, once you really find that program or really level of volume, I can't even say program because any program can work for anybody, but really level of volume in which that you can build muscle but recover at the same time without diminishing returns. Because to your point before, it's great and all to bury yourself and, absolutely just break yourself down on these pendulum sets, hack sets, leg press sets, whatever the case may be. Because if you're debilitating yourself on a leg extension, I have a lot of questions for you. But when it comes to like these compounded movements, like these heavy compounded movements, it's something where, it gets to a point of diminishing return where, again, it's all well and good to hurt as you walk out of the gym, but, musculature, not skeletal frame, not your actual bones hurting and aching. And again, to your point, you've dealt with bone screws. You tore your ACL in college, so it's something where your knee has been reconstructed, where it's always going to have some form of hurt, but how much damage you're going to inflict on it via the weight and the volume and just the constant pounding from training, where the next day you wake up, it hurts to fucking roll over in bed, let alone get out of bed.
yeah,
And again, for us, we are consistently on our feet day in and day out. It's rare and few and far in between. We're in a sitting down more than, an hour or 2 hours at a time. But it gets to the point where if you're hindering one recovery, but two also the days to follow, there's not going to be much getting better because your body's going to be so focused on recovering and healing the portion that's still actually in pain, rather than focusing on driving intensity and driving nutrients and driving blood flow to the areas that are targeted for that next day. So, I mean, it's definitely something that it's nice to see and it takes with a grain of salt, but like maturity in the gym, just being smarter when it comes to training in itself, because again, more is not always the answer. I don't really care what anyone says because more can just cause exaggerated downfall of issues, problems, any sort of musculature diminishing return, I guess you can say. Um, but again, it's something where you take one of your weaker body parts and at least make it something where it might still be your weakest, but it's not like you stand up on stage and they're like you're standing on pencils.
yeah.
There's respectable proportions to your body.
Yeah, like you could have a weakness, but it can't be a glaring weakness. You
Yeah.
can't have somebody look at I mean, for me personally, like you can't have somebody look at my legs and say, yeah, he's all good everywhere else. Like that is the worst because I we have a guy who comes into the gym and they yell at each other and they go, you had all year. You literally had all year to make that one body part stand out. And hey, for some people, it might not. For some people, you might have some sort of structural or genetic limitation for that body part. Again, perfect example is me, right? My knee is going to forever hold back my leg training until it's good and I don't feel it. But that is not an excuse for my legs to be shit and me to just go into men's physique. My excuse to go to men's physique is that my waist is small.
Yeah.
So don't turn around and ever, I don't care who watches this, don't ever live with the limitation that you set on yourself or any
Yeah.
limitation that anyone's ever put on. That's bullshit. Like whether it's your wife, husband, whoever it is, whoever the fuck is watching this, if someone puts a limitation on you, it is your fucking job to prove them the fuck
Yeah.
wrong. It's your job to prove
Yeah.
fucking doubt me,
Like,
bro. I want you to. Because that's going to force me to either proving you wrong or proving you right. And I'll be damned if I prove somebody right and prove myself wrong. Fuck that.
yeah. No, it's kind of the same topic. I'm pretty sure Joe spoke on this on his podcast. It was to kind of like piggyback off of training right now, but it was the idea of, like science-based versus
Ugh,
whatever the fuck you want to call it,
bro science.
normal lifting. Yeah, it's, you know, it's all well and good to, get in the gym and max out these machines and, leg press for fucking two hard reps and put out all this effort. And but it's like over the course of time when you're not 18 years old anymore and you're 25 and 26 and you've been doing this for 6 7 years and you continuously do this for the 6 7 years you've been lifting. Yeah, it's all well and good, but it's like, are you going to be able to consistently do this every day and come back and do this every fucking day and lift all this weight? It's for us as bodybuilders, it's progressive overload continuously. And again, you can say beating the logbook in a sense, but again, increasing in reps, increasing in weight. But it's for the sake of being able to wake up and do it over and over again, week after week after week, and consistently improve. And the idea of these 2 to 4 rep sets with maximum output and these heavy ass weights, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me because again, a lot of these optimal guys will harp on it, but they look like children because half the time they are. And realistically, they have no backing of knowledge of where anything comes from. They read some shit online and then they spew it. And most of the time, I feel like a lot of it's rage bait for the sake of social media, to gain traction because realistically, anybody will react to whatever nowadays. But I feel like the portion that they always miss is, it's all well and good to be able to lift X amount of weight. That's great. Become a fucking power lifter. If you want to be strong, become a fucking power lifter. Stop calling yourself a bodybuilder. Stop calling yourself, oh, you're gonna compete in this, or I do. You're not a bodybuilder. You're a power lifter. You want to get strong. That's fantastic. Go in that fucking route. But you're not going to build existential amounts of muscle by doing these 2 to 4 rep sets with maximum output. And then it makes no fucking sense to me just for the sake of the route that they take and the arguments that they have. It's just stupid.
There's one person I think that we've seen who is doing that and has gotten bigger. This person is also extremely open about how much drugs he uses, right? And also deadlifts fucking 8 plates for reps, right? And it's Jordan Peters. But also, when we look at Jordan Peters and we go back 10 years to when he was building the amount of tissue he actually has, he was not training like this. He was progressing the logbook, but it was not, 2 sets of 4 reps. It was the rep ranges were higher. He got ridiculously strong, right? And he built a crazy, crazy big physique. But I'll be damned to say it's pretty. That shit is ugly as fuck.
Yep.
I don't want to look like Jordan Peters. Maybe I want certain body parts to look like his. I want my back to look like his. That would also involve me actually training back, right? So like it's really cool to pull a shit ton of weight off the floor. And like we see other examples, right? Like Reese is a great example, right? Me and you were talking about this yesterday. Reese's back shows that he fucking pulls a ton of weight.
Yeah.
We've seen him do an 8 plate stiff leg deadlift for 4 or 5 reps. Yeah, there's merit to that shit, but realistically, that's also the same guy who's pulling 6 plates off the floor for a stiff leg deadlift for 15.
Yeah.
In order to have that level of strength, you have to be able to do heavy weight for a lot of reps. So, yeah, that is going to at some point or another build tissue, but in order to get there, that's not the right approach.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Everyone has who you see doing, like, for instance, Reese pulling fucking 8 plates for like a stiff leg, which is insane. But he's already built a foundation. He has already built he already has those building blocks in which that he's progressed the logbook, he's gotten strong. But to your point, like you don't get that strong without being strong as shit for a 2 plate back off. Again, these people are putting their top sets online. That doesn't mean they're not fucking doing back offs. Who says they're not doing 3 back off sets with fucking 5.5 plates? And you're not seeing them, like you said, doing 12 to 15 reps and consistently upping their volume from their top sets. Because again, that's the one thing I will say that I heavily took from Jack is that I was Mr. Working Set. I was always Mr. 3 or 4 working sets. And again, the normal how everyone starts out. Once I went top set back off for the idea of maximum intensity of that top set, back off, clean up your form, and really feel the muscle, that's when I started really developing into the bodybuilder I am now, actually seeing potentiation and muscle growth and being able to learn how to train that body part, what to feel. And again, it's all well and good to get strong and, show that online. But at the same time, there needs to be a foundational portion in which that you built your entire bodybuilding career, your strength baseline on. And again, it starts with the initial X amount of years that you've built up in the years that you've been training.
100%. I really genuinely think when it comes to bodybuilding specifically, and maybe this is a episode in itself, but the foundation that you start with should almost be a powerlifting background. You should get really good with a barbell, just not for low reps,
Yeah.
right? You should do a decent amount of sets in the 7 to 12 rep range, just simply because it makes the most sense in terms of you need to get good at moving your body.
Huh?
From there, you switch some of those heavier compound movements out for things that make more sense for the goal, more machine type work, and learning to actually feel the muscle. Then you go to a combo of the two where you get strong as fuck, but you're also feeling the muscle as you get strong as fuck. And then you ride that fucker until it goes to shit. But the biggest thing when it comes to bodybuilding, building the fucking body, is the fact that we are not supposed to be chasing weight. If anything, you should want to be as weak as humanly possible and have the biggest muscles possible. We are in the game of creating tension. So when you sit there and you say, "Oh, I want to be as big as I humanly can be, or I want to be as strong as I humanly can be," it's all well and good. But if your goal is to be the best bodybuilder, learn how to utilize those muscles in that set. A great example, I've done a 5 plate hack squat, no bend for 8 reps. The other day, I did 4 plates for like 17, 18 reps, something like that, with a reverse band on it. My quads are still fucked more than the 8 plate or the 5 plate because, oh, yeah, I was kind of sort of bouncing out of the bottom. I wasn't engaging my quads on the way down. I was just, how can I get these 8 reps? And guess what? One is going to build muscle, or they're both going to build muscle. One's going to do more damage long term. So, how can you get your quality higher? How can you turn around and put the person leaving needs to hear this? Um, you could probably already assume who it is. How can you put more quality into the actual exercise as opposed to just adding weight to a bar or getting more reps? Can you progressively overload? This is why I like progressively overstimulate. Can you progressively overstimulate the muscle tissue into a new version of itself? Shit, do a 3 plate fucking do a 2 plate Smith squat and make sure that in every rep you're engaging your quads the entire way down, the entire way up, and move with force on the way up, control it all the way down, sink into that hole. And when you're in that hole, think about pushing your knees forward. Get that real nice stretch. Do as many reps as you can until the fucking thing stops. That one set is going to do more than you doing 4 plates on the fucking hack squat and just dive bombing every rep.
Yeah.
Promise you.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it, and kind of, I'm using myself an example because some random kid came up to me at the gym yesterday, and like, I don't know if it was a chirp or whatever the fuck it was, but it's like, I was on the Nebula leg press, and I did 8 plates. And again, for some, they'll be like, "Oh, it's only 8 plates." Like he even was like, "Oh, you're only doing 8?" I'm like, "What do you mean only? Like, it's still a lot of weight." But my set that I use, one, I'm in that set for a shit long time, but at the same time, I'm also doing like 8 to 9 reps and I'm still taking more than a minute, minute and a half in these sets because it's slow centric. I sit in the fucking hole and I explode out of the hole. But as you get past that fourth rep, yeah, that you can only do that so many times before your reps will slow the fuck down on the concentric. And I drive a shitload of force. I drove a shitload of tension. As can be seen, my legs are growing astronomically. I train them once a week. I train them for 8 sets total. That's it. Genetically, sure, I'm gifted with great legs, but at the same time, I don't drive, these eight, eight workouts, 8 movement workouts, X amount of volume. And like the most I'll do is like I'll do my hack or pendulum and superset it with a thing of walking lunges. There's like the extent of any sort of intensifiers that I really put into it. But it's like lying ham, leg extension, leg press, hack squat, um, seated ham, gluteator, called it a day. Like it's basically in like one of each, or like one of each and two of some others. But it's like it's very minimal. But again, the execution's there. I know how to train my legs properly. As can be seen, my legs are growing very, very well. But the thing is, it's the act in which that I perform these sets. The tension, there's a shitload of tension, there's a shitload of intensity, but I also don't need to stroke my ego. I see plenty of people throwing around fucking 11, 12 plates on the Nebula. It's like they're just loading this shit up and bouncing out of the hole, kissing their fucking knees and kicking it away. That's great. But like you're walking on toothpicks. That's fantastic. Continue to stroke your ego because I'm just going to keep running by you time and time after again. And I'm sorry, it's more fucking plates you gotta load. Those things are a pain in my ass. I fucking hate loading plates. And especially when I'm in a fucking prep setting, fuck that. The less amount of plates that I have to load, the fucking better. Because I'm exhausted and I'm peeled. So I don't want to deal with that shit.
Yeah.
And again, the people who are very ego driven, by all means, keep doing your thing because everyone else is getting better around you, sincerely. And I don't mean that with any disrespect. I'm just stating straight facts.
I mean it
If you
with
want to
disrespect.
if you want to keep stroking your ego, please just continuously, year after year, be the mediocre bodybuilder that you are.
Yeah, there's nothing that gets me more. I've been strong on a leg extension. I felt like I needed a gym pin on a leg extension. And then every time I've ever reset the load, I don't need that shit. I see people pinning the leg extension is directly in front of me, right? I can't see it right now, but if I were to see it, I'd see people, seat belt, strapping in, putting fucking 2 extra plates on the shit. Bro, I ain't seen your rec fem not one time. You got no separation.
Yeah.
Why? You can't even flex this shit on stage. You ain't using
Yeah.
that. I don't know how the fuck you're getting the weight up, but obviously it's not doing what it's supposed to do. So actually drop the weight, feel the muscle. It's the one and only time we can get our rec fem short. The other time that we can get it long realistically is a pendulum squat, but guess what? It's a glorified leg extension anyway. So it's a closed chain leg extension. When you sit there, these fucking, I don't know how you people do fucking dip. That's not dip, it's fucking marijuana. But them shits were falling out of my fucking mouth. I genuinely just sit there and I watch somebody do a leg extension. They're doing more weight than I am, and I go, all right, bro. Like my knees couldn't handle that to begin with, but I'm also sure as shit going to get more out of this set. It's going to hurt way more than you doing fucking two strap plates to the strap leg extension and getting fucking 5 reps. It's not doing nothing for you. Promise you.
Yeah. I've told there's been a lot of people in the gym, and I can't even pinpoint because it's been a lot of people who are like, everything's super light, everything's this, everything's that. That's fantastic. We can fix that. You can easily fix that. You can fix it purely on programming. Because if there, I will say the Atlantis, we had an Atlantis leg extension in our gym. It was light as shit. It was not the Pro Series. It was very, very light. The stack was obnoxiously light. But like you can fix anything with programming. If you're going in there, because right now we have the Jim Lecco one, and it's heavy-ish. It's not crazy heavy, even the stack, but like again, whether it's you program it at the end of your workout instead of the beginning of your workout, or if your tempo is much different, if you're sitting in the lengthen for longer, if you're sitting in the contracted for longer, if there's any way to make these sets harder, make it fucking harder. And I don't understand why everyone feels the need to look for the easy way out. Oh, it's too light. Yeah, we're just throwing the weight around. This doesn't mean anything. Or when you have two different leverage arms on a chest press, for instance, the encore that's in the gym, you have a top leverage arm, you have the bottom leverage arm. The top one, you can run that bitch up for like 5, 6 plates. It's super light in the contracted, and it's pretty damn heavy in the hole. But you put that shit on the bottom, it's heavy. Period. It ain't heavy here. It's fucking just heavy. And guess what? Everyone puts fucking plates on the top because nobody wants to fucking work.
Mm-hmm.
I get
Like, comment,
you
share,
want
subscribe, all that shit.
I get you want to look strong. That's great, fantastic. A lot of people like to film their workouts in my gym. That's fine. I have nothing against that. But the thing is, let's correlate it. Let's bring it to a stage and see what you look like. You know, what kind of effort are you actually putting in your off season? It might look like you're lifting a lot of weight, but what kind of intensity are you driving? Because year after year, those are the people who step on stage and look the fucking same because they act like they failed on a set. They act like, or they look like they're lifting a lot of weight, but realistically, they're playing their leverages to their advantages.